Hi, I'm Hawken with TOPDON, and today we're going to do a brief walkthrough video on the new TOPDON T-Ninja Pro. The T-Ninja Pro represents the newest immobilizer and key programming related tool that TOPDON makes, and this tool has a few different benefits that are an evolution of what the T-Ninja 1000 has. So many of you may have owned or still own the T-Ninja 1000, and you're probably asking yourself, well, why should I buy the T-Ninja Pro? The biggest difference, I would say, between the T-Ninja 1000 and the T-Ninja Pro is the T-Ninja Pro has a newer model of hardware with a lot more capabilities for today's vehicles and vehicles of the future. Namely, the VCI that comes with the tool has the ability to connect to some of more of the modern vehicle networks and some of the more evolved and complicated immobilizer systems. So it's essentially a tool that will allow you to be more insulated towards the future with regards to immobilizer software. Now, day one, it's very similar to the T-Ninja 1000 as far as the coverage goes, but again, as time goes forward here, we will see greater coverage on the T-Ninja Pro, just as an evolution of the more advanced hardware. So, with that being said, we're going to go through a couple of things that really set the T-Ninja Pro apart from a lot of other tools, and also highlight some of the hardware features before we walk you through the basic software layout. We're not going to cover programming a key today with this particular video. This video is meant to just be a basic walkthrough of the essential software of the tool and where all of the different menu options are and what they do. So one thing I want to cover specifically about the T-Ninja Pro, the T-Ninja Pro actually is an open Android format. This is very unique compared to most other key programming tools, as most key programming tools are very locked down. They launch right into the diagnostic app when you boot the tool up. They don't allow you to install additional apps on the tool, so that's a bit limiting in some respects. The T-Ninja Pro, on the other hand, does actually have open Android. Now, there's no Google Play Store, but if you find the APK file, which is what's used to install an app, for an app that you would like to use on the tool, then you can install that on the T-Ninja Pro and make use of the tablet for that app, as well as the primary function, which is the key programming. So, just a nice benefit there that you get from the T-Ninja Pro that you will not from a lot of other tools on the market. We're also going to take you through just some of the basic overview of the hardware itself, again, before we launch into the software walkthrough. So without further ado, let's take a look at the hardware. So we have a small portable format tablet, really not overly large or clunky, really convenient as far as the format goes. We've got a dongle that magnetically attaches to the back of the tool, so that's kind of nice for storage purposes. It does have a USB port on it, which is USB-C. We can attach a cable from the dongle directly to the tool, and that might be a good idea if you're one of those folks who has a tendency to forget your dongle in the vehicle. If you've done that before, then I would really recommend taking advantage of a USB cable and attaching it directly to the tool so that you do not forget this in the vehicle. There's some other solutions you could entertain. You could try some of the Apple AirTags. You could try Milwaukee makes kind of a similar AirTag type device that you could stick on the back of the dongle right here, and that would allow you to help keep yourself from forgetting it in the car. So just some suggestions there if you're one of those people who has a tendency to leave a dongle in the car. So the other features of the hardware, we do have a kickstand, which you can certainly lay on a table or under a hood or on the seat of the vehicle or on the roof of the vehicle, whatever's convenient for you. We also have a number of ports on the top of the tool. So we'll zoom in a little bit here so you can see that. Hopefully it'll focus up good. But going from left to right, we have a power button here. We have a headphone jack if you want to use this for multimedia purposes. We have an Ethernet port, so we can plug this into Ethernet and update it faster than Wi-Fi, of course. We have a USB port here, which is a standard style USB port, so we could plug in a USB jump drive if we wanted to download some information off of the internet on our PC and then transfer it over, or download information from the tool and bring it over to our PC. Quick way to offload screenshots, screen recordings, things of that nature if we want to. We also have the HDMI port here, which allows us to connect to an HDMI like a TV or a recording mixer board, something like that. And we have a USB-C port here. Both the USB-C port and the power port can be used to charge the tablet. So we can use the tablet charger that comes with it for the power port, and then we can use a USB-C charging cable if we want to charge it via that route. We also have a camera button here. Now, the one thing about the camera button that's a little different is, usually on camera buttons it launches the camera, which we see right here. However, on this tool, it actually, if you hold it down for about 1.5 seconds, it takes a screenshot instead. Now, we can also launch the camera app if we want to by using the software on the tool. There is a camera app that is easy to find that would allow you to pull that up. So just a note that you wanted to keep in mind, since again, usually the hard key for a camera would launch the camera app, but instead it takes a screenshot. So just some notes there. There is also a micro SD card slot, and we'll do our best to show you here in the video. There is a micro SD card slot there. And if you put a ultra high speed micro SD card in the tool, you can put all of the software on that SD card and it will run the whole system off of that. Or you can use it for additional storage and the tool will just have much greater expanded storage capacity. Now the tool has plenty of storage for the base software that comes on it. If you're going to install a lot of additional apps, then you would want to consider putting in a micro SD card with some expanded storage options. So just wanted to cover that, just some additional thoughts there that you do want to keep in mind. So we're going to cover one more thing before we move to the software itself. This is an add-on you can purchase for the T-Ninja Pro, which is the T-Darts. We're going to do a separate video on the T-Darts showing the functions and features that it has. It is compatible with both the T-Ninja Pro, the Ultra Diag, and the TopScan app. So if you are looking for the features and functions of that, again, we're going to cover that separately on a different video. We are also not going to program a key today with the T-Ninja Pro. We're just going to take you through the basic software tour, and then we're going to shoot a separate video that's going to show you the key programming process on just one vehicle. Now, it's important to keep in mind that the workflow for programming a key is going to be a little bit different based on each vehicle manufacturer. However, the T-Ninja Pro makes it very simple and straightforward, regardless of which brand of vehicle we are working on. Now, if you're wondering about vehicle coverage, you'll see that there is a built-in coverage lookup on the tool, or you can visit the TOPDON website, click on the Key Programmer option, click on T-Ninja Pro, and you will be able to look at the coverage for the tool in case you are trying to verify that before you go out to do a programming on a vehicle. So, that's the summary of the hardware itself. Now we're going to move into the software and do a tour of the software and kind of walk you through just the basics, right? We're not going to get into anything super deep on that. We just want to show you the basics. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and switch over to the software and take you for a tour there. When you launch your tool, it's very important that we go into the settings menu before we do anything else. We're going to search for lock. And then we are going to set a screen lock on the tool. Now, why are we setting this up? This is very important that we put a screen lock on to prevent anybody from stealing this tool and using this for unethical purposes such as stealing vehicles. So we want to make sure we go in and do this before we literally do anything else on the tool. So we're going to set our screen lock up, and we are going to choose one of the following options. Now, you can choose whichever option you want. I would recommend we choose a pattern, a pin, or a password. Swiping is not going to protect the tool from being used for nefarious purposes. A pattern, a pin, or a password will prevent a thief from being able to use this tool for nefarious purposes. So, let's make sure we go in and set this up before we use our tool for any key programming or anything of that nature. That's the first step you want to take before you use your tool for any key programming. So, just wanted to cover that before we launch into the rest of the software. So, this is the main screen when you launch the tool. You will see that we have Google Chrome installed. We have the TeamViewer Quick Support app, and we have our access to our file structure under the Files menu, and then we also have our Settings menu, which takes you to the Android settings. So again, this is an open Android platform, so you can certainly do many things that you would do with any other Android device, and you do have access to a large number of different capabilities as a direct result of this being an open Android platform. Now, if we go over to the left side of the screen and swipe up where the little arrow is there, we can see our Android menu with all of the apps shown here. So on this device, we don't have any additional apps installed yet, but we can certainly install additional apps if we want to go out to the internet and track down what is called the APK file. So again, that brings some additional value to this specific tool because most other key programming tools out there do not have an open Android format. This is obviously nice just because, again, you can use the tool for additional features and functions that you might otherwise not be able to do with some other tools out there. So we're going to just look at the T-Ninja Pro app today. So when we launch the app, we see that we have some basic sections here on the tool. So we'll walk you through them one by one. First thing we're going to look at is the user info. I always kind of like to go backwards so you can see the settings first, and then we show you the additional information. So in the settings menu, we have access to a bunch of different stuff. In the very top here, we have VCI management. This is where we can connect to the VCI or dongle that connects to the tool. You can see we have one listed here, and that is also where you go for activation. Firmware update allows us to update the firmware on the VCI or dongle, as well as the T-darts itself. So basically you have to make sure that that T-darts is plugged into power. You can use the USB cable that comes with it and connect it directly to the tool if you want. That's probably the best case scenario if you're doing a firmware update. Same thing with the VCI. If we're going to do a firmware update, using the USB cable directly to the tool is your best option. Uninstalled diagnostic software basically allows us to delete any software we do not want to use to take up storage space on the tool. So we can selectively delete any of the software we see here. And you can do that also with the immobilizer and the T-darts software, anything you don't want to make use of and take up your storage space. Now, it is important to remember that this particular tool also has a micro SD card slot. So if you want to expand your storage and you go buy a high-speed SD mini card or micro card, you can install the micro SD card high-speed one, and then you can make use of that specifically for storage, as well as you can actually transfer all of the software to that, which will free up storage space on the tool. Now, that's rarely something that's absolutely necessary, but it is something that you can use as an option if you plan to install additional apps on your tablet. So now we can go to the vehicle coverage lookup, and this is just a shortcut if you want to look at all of the various coverage for the tool. We can basically build a year, make, and model through this particular section here and see if the immobilizer software is covered on that particular application. So we can scroll through the menu here, and we'll select Chevrolet. And then we can look at a drop down here and we'll scroll through and we can see what is or is not covered. So let's pick a Captiva and we can hit query, and now we can see all of the various information as far as the coverage goes. Now you will see on some of the coverage map that it does list additional functions like active tests. This is if you upgrade your T-Ninja Pro. Now, if you contact support, you can actually upgrade the T-Ninja Pro software so that it essentially becomes the Ultra Diag. If you have not seen the Ultra Diag has the immobilizer software that you see on the T-Ninja Pro, but it also has full diagnostic software on all makes and models of vehicles. This just gives you additional capabilities that you would not have with immobilizer software only. So it's important to keep in mind that some of the functions you see listed here for the T-Ninja Pro are only going to be if it has been upgraded to the Ultra Diag. Again, this is an additional fee, but you can add that software on after your purchase if you wish to do so. So now we're going to go into customer feedback. This is where you can submit any kind of issues you run into with the vehicle. Now, this is not the only place you can submit feedback. When you are inside a vehicle and you are in the vehicle-specific software for Immobilizer, you can also submit feedback there. And we will show you what that looks like so that you can see that. But you want to make sure that you submit this information whenever you run into a problem with the tool, so the engineering team can address these problems proactively and get them fixed so you do not have to worry about this the next time you connect to that vehicle or a similar vehicle. So we're going to X out because we don't actually have any feedback to send today. But again, make sure you're sending in your feedback if you run into problems with the tool so they can fix it as soon as possible. Shop info just allows us to enter in our shop name and address as well as phone number. Make sure you fill this information out, as this will help if there is any theft of the tool. It will make it easier to track the tool down and stop anybody from using it illegitimately. System update information allows you to check and see if the operating system of the tool is up to date. So this is one place you want to check for updates. Although, when you restart the tool and the tool is connected to the internet, it will automatically check for updates. When we go into the settings menu, we can also check in the About section for additional updates. So you can see there's also this here where you can hit the check for updates. Clearing the cache is something you may want to do if you experience any abnormal behavior from the tool. This is just a simple fix. Units, we can change our units as you can see there, and language allows us to change to other languages that are supported by the tool. So that's the settings menu. Now we're going to go back here. So you're probably curious, what are the other options we have? We're going to go into the folder. The folder is where all your file storage exists, specifically for the T-Ninja Pro app. So if you store any reports that you have saved, and that's primarily oriented towards the diagnostic side of the tool if you upgrade it to the the Ultra Diag. However, you can also save reports in here with the T-Ninja Pro software natively as well. File management just allows you to look through anything that you've saved, and you can also see the file structure of the tool itself. So if you have additional things that you're saving on the tool, this gives you access to that information. Now you can also access that specifically if you go back to the Android menu that we were looking at before. So we'll go ahead and we'll exit out of this and we'll go back. Again, reports is where you can save any reports and re-access them after the fact. And replaying data is if you save any live data. Okay, so now we're going to go to the update screen, and we'll go through a couple of things on the update screen so you can get yourself familiar with some of the things you have at your disposal. So here we have updating. We can search makes of vehicles at the top here. You see our keyboard comes up and we can search. We can also hit select in the top right here. And if we want to batch update more than one software at the same time, we can then go through after we hit select and we can update multiple brands. So let's say we want to update, some of these softwares are not used in the North American region, but they might be used in your region. But you can selectively choose if you would like to update other software. So we're just going to update one. And when we do the update, we can see there's a progress bar in the top right there. And we can also see that it goes ahead and installs it rather quickly. Now, you can also see the T-darts. So if you add the T-darts onto your tool, then you can check that for updates. And if you decide to upgrade the software to the Ultra Diag platform, then this is where you would find updates to your diagnostic software. But again, that's only if you update the tool to the Ultra Diag version with additional subscription. Maintenance is where you will find basic maintenance procedures. Generally, that's not something we're going to be concerned about here if we're talking about key work. eOBD and OBD2 is where you can look at the OBD data of the vehicle. Now, you do not have to upgrade to the UltraDiag software platform in order to have access to this, which is good because it is still useful to have access to OBD2 data if we are doing key programming. We want to at least be able to scan the engine control module for immobilizer-related codes. However, it is obviously still very beneficial to go ahead and update the tool to the UltraDiag platform for that additional fee, as then we would be able to look at all modules on the vehicle for immobilizer-related faults. T-darts takes us into the menu for the different features and functions we can access if we add a T-darts onto our tool. We're not going to go through these today, as those are going to be covered in a T-darts video. IMMO is obviously our primary feature of the tool, and this is where we will choose our year, make, and model in order to perform key adding, key deleting, and all keys lost functions for any given vehicle. Now, how those functions are laid out may vary depending on vehicle manufacturer. Again, we're going to give you a separate video walking you through the programming of a key on a vehicle just as an example. But today we just wanted to show you the basic menus of the tool so you could get comfortable with all of the information we see here. So that's our basic menu format and the tool features and functions summarized here in our video. If you have additional questions on the tool, please don't hesitate to contact us on the Facebook TOPDON page or contact our support team on the TOPDON website, and we will do our best to answer your questions. We greatly appreciate you watching this walkthrough video on the tool, and again, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can see our video on programming a key with the tool, and also the features of the T-darts unit and how those benefit the T-Ninja Pro and add additional features. Thanks again for watching this video. Again, I'm Hawken with TOPDON, and you have a great day.